Clubhouse. 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 Thank you. Clubhouse. Clubhouse. Thank you. Clubhouse. 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 Clubhouse.
Thank you.
Justice Junkie! Me too. I got a new subscriber. His name is Justice Junkie. That's nice. I like that. It made me think whether what I'm doing is this sort of obsessive pursuit for justice. And I think that that's what this is about, or certainly part of my psyche, and at least what I consider as important and what I've perhaps made part of my identity. Someone that thinks justice is important. Yeah, so that was kind of fitting that me seeing the new subscriber made me think of what I'm doing. And it made me think of Saeed Maroon Taouk, and how I will be seeking justice against him. That's a great way to put it. Him and his father, really him and his family, who I feel have a lot to answer for. And I'm going to try to explore that in this episode brought to you by Justice Junkie. Officially sponsored by the Taouk Association and the Shari Association New South Wales Incorporated. Yeah, the story of how Andrew Majid Taouk is going to sue, or wants to sue, or is talking about the civil suit that he'd like to bring against his first cousin, Saeed Maroon Taouk. Taouk or Taouk? I'm going to say Taouk. Taouk just sounds weird. Yeah, so full transparency, I built the house that the builder for the house that I'm living in currently is Saeed. And me and, let's just say, my business and life partner, Nassif. That's a business. Yeah. He's been so associated with my life. Yeah. And yeah, we've done a lot of business together. Yeah. I think that's kind of, like a nice complimentary way for me to kind of present our relationship in this podcast. Yep. So let's call it, business partner. And my mother's good friend. We built this house together, with the agreement being that I'll live on one side with my family and kids, and that, my business partner and mum would do, whatever they wanted. They treat the other side as their investment, and they rented it out successfully. And the only issue that they've had is with the build, right? Because who was the builder? Saeed. And he has a lot to answer for, unfortunately. So let's start with the balcony. Okay. On Nassif's side, there's a large wraparound balcony. I think it's 30 lineal meters. Between 20 to 30 lineal meters. It is massive. It wraps around the beautiful master bedroom. Beautiful design. Thumbs up to... Oh, I forgot their name. Anyway, it'll come to me. But Sarkis was the name of the architect, or perhaps that was his surname. Doesn't matter. I don't want to get too specific about that. But hats off to the design, divine design. Yeah, um, a real success story. That architectural firm. Um, but yeah, beautiful design by Divine Design. Um, and with challenging components. The large balcony was a challenging component, and Saeed unfortunately failed. It is not straight. It sort of creaks. He didn't put floor wastes in, or he didn't liaise with the plumber in any way, and he just left it to us, to basically clean up his mess. He was the builder and carpenter, and he failed to put floor waste in this massive balcony. Um, he did not take this project seriously. It was a job for him, but also the house of his first cousin. You know, he was the best man for my wedding. Like I thought he'd take it more seriously, but I don't think he had the ability to take it seriously. I think that's just the person that he is. He rushed the job, and there were extraordinarily poor finishes. And ironically, I say that he rushed because whenever he was working, he was rushing. But he'd do one massive rushed poor day, and then I wouldn't see him for weeks. So at the same time he was rushing, he was also so slow that he threw off everyone's schedule. Remember, he was the builder and the carpenter, and he was the worst tradie. So he has a lot to answer for. And I've, out of respect and love for Saeed, I prevented my business partner Nasif from suing Saeed or getting him to come to fix the defects. I'm like, no, look, I'm working with him. Saeed's good. Like, just, you know, like basically let me take care of it. I've got business to do with him and all that sort of stuff. But basically, the wolves were at the gate and I was keeping them from, tearing him to pieces. Now I'm the wolf that wants to tear him to pieces. Yeah, I've been preventing Nasif from suing Saeed for years out of respect for Saeed. So he will be sued and held accountable for his extremely poor workmanship, right? For his extraordinary failure as a builder, as a manager, as a friend, as a cousin, as a person. Because I feel that that's just, and I'm a little bit of a junkie for it. That's nice, isn't it? Yep. So the process that I see transpiring or evolving is that Nasif will take him to court over his side of the duplex, and then once Saeed's sufficiently sued on that end, once he has a judgment in Nasif's favor, then I'll come in, and then I'll need my piece because he's got a lot to answer for on my side. There was this beautiful day where I was sitting out at the front balcony and just enjoying the view in my beautiful Yeezy pods, and I posted about it on Facebook. It put me in such a good mood, and then I began to notice the poor workmanship on the balcony. The fact that my balconies, it's sort of like enclosed, and it's constructed of a timber frame, and it's just bowing and just horrible. The finishings are just terrible. Oh God, it's not sealed in any meaningful way. It is just such a bodge job that Saeed did. And it just put me in a foul mood, And then I thought, oh, it's actually okay, because this is all just sort of like in the moment, right? Temporary. But Nasif's going to sue him, and then I'm going to have my go, right? And then this will eventually be fixed, hopefully around the time that I'll be leasing out the house. So it'll all work in the long run in my favor, because all that I'm after is justice. Junkie. And I think that that's fair. To go down that route of a civil suit is far fairer than, well, what they did to me. They continually called the police on me when I was in a crisis situation that they caused and then perpetuated. I'm surprised that they believe that they were in the right, but that's a delusion that I realize they've been under for their entire life. It's okay, but judges and magistrates have a great way to sort of burst that bubble, because that's all I'm after, justice. That's a big point for me, sort of a big sort of impact moment that I had when the police began coming to my house. My Uncle Charlie called the police and he was assisted by my Auntie Rada. I've been taught by my Uncle Charlie, no, not my Uncle Charlie, he has no beliefs, that epileptic, by my father and by my Uncle Maroon and all my first cousins. It's shameful to call the police. Why did Arada assist my Uncle Charlie, the person that freshly bashed his wife? Why did she assist my uncle in calling the police when she knew that it was shameful? Didn't matter. Right? Because all those morals and ethics, quote unquote, that I was raised to believe, all those core beliefs were bullshit. All my father cared about was having sex and shooting up heroin. That's it. Sorry, he's a sex addict and a junkie, essentially. And my auntie seemed to be okay with that. So I called her a cunt because I believe that my Auntie Rada acted like a cunt. And I think it's just for me to call my Auntie Rada a cunt because of what she did. That's a very cuntish thing to do, right? I hope that's understood, right? I was paying her salary for 6 months, and that cunt assisted my abusive uncle at calling the police against me, And I just want to apologize for using the C word. I get it, that it's confronting, but what was the alternative at the time when the police came over? And then they came over again and again and again. That was very hurtful each time the police came. I'm realizing that now, how extraordinarily traumatic it was for me. But I was just in a period of crisis. I was ruled by my ennui. I just couldn't allow them to see how much pain they were putting me through. Perhaps that's a coping mechanism, I'm not too sure. But that's sufficiently in the past for me to be able to talk about comfortably. Yeah, detached from the emotion of it all at the time. But the sentiment of my Auntie Rada being a cunt is still there, And I'm sorry if that's hard to hear, but I feel that that's just. Junkie. Sorry. Like, consider what the alternative could have been. I mean, I never would ever lay my hands on anyone, but I'd think it, right? That's that whole opening track to Yeezy's album Yay, that mental breakdown album. Today I thought about killing you. Today I thought about killing, there were days where I thought about killing my Auntie Rada. There were days where I thought about killing my Auntie Rosa. There were days that I thought about killing my father. There were days that I thought about killing my Uncle Charlie. There were days that I thought about killing my first cousin Saeed. There were days that I thought about killing my first cousin Majid. There were days that I thought about killing my first cousin Danny. Right? And the odd thing is that it was happening around the time of significant self-affirmation, ironically. So that Kanye West sentiment, um, I love myself way more than I love you, and best believe today I thought about killing you. I thought about killing myself, and I love myself way more than I love you, but best believe I thought about killing you today. Ami Maroon, my dad, Majid Saeed Taouk, Majid Saeed Taouk, Ghada Saeed Taouk, Majid Maroon Taouk, Saeed Maroon Taouk. Yeah, very Kanye West. Very yay. Very fuck. Oh, what is it? Fuck a watch. Fuck a hospital. Oh, it's something like fuck your expensive watch. I'm wearing a hospital band. Yeah, that's where I was at when I found out that Tony passed away. I think that's when I was fully confronted with the fact that everything that I'd done in terms of like the Facebook posts and the audio messages was a desperate cry for help. A person that was cornered with no options, that did not want to resort to violence, and did not want to transgress the law, but was so angry, felt like he could burst. Yeah, I definitely thought about killing my auntie Rada the cunt. But it's okay. I didn't, and I wouldn't, because I'm not like my Uncle Charlie. I think it's just to call my auntie Rada a cunt. Yeah, I'm sorry. And I'll put a warning on this episode that, I'm going to use the C word. I don't want the St. Charbel's Parish receptionist to hear it and get shocked and get overwhelmed again. Oh, lordy Lou. I gotta do something special for that church just to make up for what I did. Ugh, they're on my mind for the Andrew Taouk 2024-2025 apology tour. Well, no, that's gonna eventuate. Gosh, we'll see. But I think once I sue Saeed for doing a poor job, so rather, let me be specific. I'm gonna give Saeed a chance to fix all the defects in my house. If he fails to, then I'll take him to court to recoup the value of rectifying the defects. So if it costs 60, 50, 100,000, then that's how much I'll take him to court over. And then once that's done, obviously, I have a large civil case against Happy Lion, and that I just sort of get giddy with excitement at the idea of me taking them to court, because my father tried so hard to prevent that from happening in 2014 when my uncle Zuzul tried to bring forth a civil suit against my Uncle Charlie. Yeah, he prevented it from happening because he didn't want to shame the family, Yeah, so I suppose this is what he gets. It won't be an NCAP thing. It'll be like a full civil suit that, I'll keep the public updated on. And, I really, really hope that Justice Junkie understands how this is a court of action. And I'd really love for him to like and comment and please share. And for everyone that watches this, and has watched my previous episodes about Mark Taouk and TQM, share it, get the word out there. Let people have a little bit of fun with this story, because at the end of the day, it's almost like a celebration. This is where we're at with our champagne problems. They tried so hard to bring me back into the hell that they created for themselves by continuously involving the police, right? Insisting on trying to make it violent and vile when I knew that that was something that was temporary, that I just had to get out of my system and was only verbal, right? It was just emotions that had to arise, but they were so desperate to turn it into something vile and criminal, right? Put it really out on the streets. My God. But yeah, it was always a civil matter, and uh, what will happen is that they'll see that they have to sell Redfern anyway, and a lot of the money from the sale that's left over will probably end up in my pocket, unfortunately. Regardless of how many times my uncle Charlie calls the police, um, uh, you know, it just yeah, it won't sort of work to his favor, even at my absolute worst. In my darkest hour, I felt like I was more ethical than my uncles and aunties, beside Auntie Noel, have ever been. I think they're incapable of being ethical. I think they're kind of brutish. And I think their only saving grace is their religion. Thank God they're Maronites, you know? They'll learn from this, right? Because it's just money at the end of the day. And their reputation, which, I mean, yeah, that's obviously not going to stand, um, because the reputation is built on lies, right? And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to dispel lies and be just. Junkie. You get me? Oh, lordy. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I think I'm at a point where I'm just having fun with it. Just letting things sort of unravel naturally. So I have to go to court because of the AVO, because I'm disputing the grounds of my Uncle Charlie's AVO, right? So I'll be in that state of mind. I'm bipolar. I'm ADD, right? Um, which means essentially I'm quite emotional, exuberant, and obsessive, right? But when you get me obsessive about something, like, I mean, watch out, sort of thing. Not in a bad, violent, or vile way. I mean, like, dude, I'm gonna have fun with researching civil suits. Um, yeah, man, it's just gonna be a little bit of fun therapy. Going to court, researching, speaking to solicitors, really trying to milk the civil action, the civil case of the AVO, for all it's worth, to assist me in this sort of platform, let's just say, to get the word out there. I'll keep people updated. I'll research and, let people know what I found out about, whether it's common for, people that are obvious abusers to lie to the police to come off as victims themselves, right? The real sinister, violent, vile version of gaslighting. I'd really want to know whether what happened to me is quite common. I have a feeling that it might be, and I'll keep you guys updated, because I'm a little bit of a justice junkie, right? And this is an opportunity for me to have my fill, to have my hit. You know what I mean? Like, that's what my Uncle Charlie invited, right? And whether Mango King is my Uncle Charlie or not, it's perfectly fine that we're communicating that way. But eventually he'll have to go to court and answer for what he did. And I really just look forward to that. Because I know that he'll flounder at court, right? And I won't, because I have the truth on my side, and it's something that, I'm really sort of keen on. Like, I like true crime. I feel like I'm inside a true crime documentary. So I'm gonna have fun with it. Yeah. Um, that's something that I'll be pursuing, and because I'll have that, right. The whole civil case against Happy Lion and my cousin Saeed will be a slam dunk, right? Because to go from like criminal and civil, where you're defending your what do you say? You're disputing the grounds of an AVO, and you have to defend that claim to a public prosecutor. Like that's hard, right? But because I know that it's a slam dunk case, because the evidence and what the evidence that was submitted for the AVO was, oh gosh, yeah, just look. I don't want to get into the specifics, but yeah, it was. I basically got an AVO to prevent me from, coming in contact with my uncle, even though I didn't have any intention of coming into contact with him. He wanted a document to prove that he was good because I was bad. That's all it was, and that's just clear on its face. Once the public prosecutor speaks to the police officers at Bankstown Police Station, um, that'll be clear. So, look, it'll just be fun for me. Um, yeah, and yeah, like so, I'll just have that to sort of boost my confidence in relation to bringing civil suits against my family. Because remember, they brought a civil suit against me, right? My auntie Rada assisted my uncle Charlie, right? At least initially, right? So, you know, she bears some responsibility. So for me, it'll be like a family thing. And what the grounds of the AVO is a text message where I imply that I want to, slit my father's throat. So I'll get to unpack that, as part of my argument, right? And so I might devote a whole episode to how I'm going to unpack that at court, or even like pretend that I'm speaking to the magistrate, and and make a whole episode my argument against the public prosecutor, and why I believe and why I'm disputing the grounds of the AVO. And for me, regardless of whether it helps my case or not, I personally want to use the text message where I'm referring to my father and slitting his throat as almost like something that I repeat, that Your Honor, um, I was referring to my father, to slitting my father's throat, knowing that he was in Qatar. That's something that I just want to, just say, right? Because that's basically it. It was me venting. In hindsight, I completely understand that what I was doing was almost like a crude form of therapy, punching a pillow. I'm so sorry for all the people that had to see that, but that's what it was, right? And my almost need to share it, I think that just revealed a part of my personality, that I'm an oversharer, and it was important for me to get across how emotionally, how emotional this was making me, let's say. So I, get to basically live in court, um, suing my family for at least a year, right? Literally the civil cases on the table right now is me and Uncle Charlie for disputing the grounds of the AVO, and Nassif and Saeed for the duplex, right? For building my duplex, right? It's his side. And because that's on the table, that's going to open the door for me to sue Saeed as well once he's finished, once Nassif's finished with him. So, yeah, that's the future that they have to look forward to. And just so they know, I'm really only aiming after their reputation and their money, knowing that their money is going to come from their father's estate. All right, I want that to be clear. I'm not taking more money from Mahami Maroon. I know that because he's the director, that he'll be able to lean on the assets in Happy Lion, and so he'll be fine, you know? So, yeah, I think I'm just going to have fun with it. And, look forward to some upcoming episodes about John Paul's Bucks. Yeah, that'll be really good. Nothing bad, John Paul and all his friends. I really just want to share my perspective. A letter to Christina and Charlotte. Yeah, about their husband and father. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Just like a nice little open letter kind of thing, like, hey Christina, how are you? Like a conversation that I would have had with her if our family was normal and not junkies and criminals. And I'm gonna have fun with it. I'm not gonna be overly offensive to say it's just like nice, like hey, as if I'm having like lovely tea with her at her house, her granny flat, and then we're just chatting. Hey, hey Chris, look, I just have to talk to you about Saeed, man. There's a lot of things that he's done to me that I don't think he realizes how bad it is, and I'm gonna need you to understand the kind of person he is and help him. Of that vein, you know. Um, some episodes on my uncle Zuzu, his epilepsy, and his time in France. I think that'll be fun. More on Europe. More on the Taouk Association, more on the Shadi Association, more on traveling, and more on mental health, and more on justice. All right. Love you.